Welcome back to OpenEco 2.5. This is the second of two videos about using the enhanced emission rates functionality in the tool. In the last video we talked about the difference between default emission rates and choosing one specific emissions framework to use for all of your utility data for a building, more specifically electricity usage. This is always about electricity emission rates. For information about natural gas rates, see the FAQ section. So once again, look at the previous video if you'd like to know more about using a specific framework for your building. In this video, we're going to talk about setting up custom emission rates for your organization. You access the custom emission rate screen from this submenu anywhere within the greenhouse gas tool. So you can see for this organization, I've already set up a couple of rates, but first let's look at what it looks like when you first go to the custom emission rate screen to set up a new rate. Here on the screen we've tried to put some basic text about what this screen does and how to use it, but there's also pointers to more information in the FAQ section. You can see here you assign a name to the rate. You also have a couple of options for how you specify the emission rates to apply to the building. You can either base your rate on an existing emission rate framework, and of course emission rate within that framework. Or you can actually choose to specify specific emission rates. For instance, if you actually know specific values from the climate registry or somewhere that you would like to use for the building, here is where you'd put it. The other thing you do within this box is to decide to what time period does this rate apply. The first line always implies that the implied start date from the first line is always the earliest data you put into the system. So say your earliest data starts in January of 2003. So it would assume this rate would apply from January 2003 until the date you specify. If you say thereafter, it will be from that point forward to the present. However, we assume that what you'll want to do is say, well, okay, I want the rate to apply from January 2003 until the end of December for a specified year, 2004. So again, you can do it with either existing rates, you can specify rates, and then you can specify brackets of time that you'd like the rate to apply to. So let's look at a couple of examples. In this rate, this is using existing emission frameworks and emission rates, and simply specifying a couple, the time periods that these rates apply to. Pretty simple. On the other end of the spectrum, for this rate, these are all hand-specified rates, always in kilograms per megawatt hour. And it has variable time periods. Once these rates are saved, you can certainly go back into the rate at any time and edit that information. You can come in here, you can change these dates, but just be aware that everything will be recalculated if you change the way the rates are applied for a given time period for historical data. So I would highly recommend if you're going to set up a lot of emission rates that you actually think about a naming convention and you keep a very detailed record of where these rates apply to and make sure that you don't have overlap. But if you run into any problems or you just have questions on how to use these rate tables or have any questions about how to use the tool, always feel free to use the contact link at the bottom of the page. Thanks very much and good luck.